You wake up before the sun rises, not because you want to, but because you have to. In your world, sleep is not freedom. It is a privilege, one that can be taken away with a single command, on any morning, without explanation. Today, you are not just one person. Today, you will live every rank inside one of the most secretive military systems on Earth, from the lowest recruit to the highest general. And by the end of this journey, you will understand one thing clearly. In this system, rank does not just define your job, it defines your entire life, your home, your food, your thoughts, and your future. You are 17 years old. Your childhood ends the moment you step into uniform. There is no choice here. Service is not optional. It is expected, demanded. The first thing they take from you is your identity. Your hair is cut short. Your clothes are replaced with something identical to the person standing next to you. Your name is barely spoken. Now you are just a recruit, a number, a body in a line. Your day starts at 5 in the morning, sometimes earlier. Running. Drills. Endless repetition that never seems to have a purpose until the purpose becomes the repetition itself. You eat quickly if there is enough food. Hunger becomes normal. Complaining becomes dangerous. Every mistake is noticed, catalogued, remembered. Every hesitation is punished swiftly and publicly because the lesson is not just for you. It is for everyone watching. You do not ask questions because questions suggest doubt. And doubt is something this system cannot allow. Not here, not ever. At night, your body aches in ways you did not know were possible. Your mind is exhausted, but restless. And sleep does not come easily because tomorrow, before the sun rises again, it all repeats. Time passes. You survive. That alone in this place earns you your first step up. You are now a private, but nothing gets easier. In fact, expectations grow with every passing week. Now you are not just learning the rules, you're expected to perform them flawlessly. Your seniors watch you constantly, looking not just at how well you run or how accurately you shoot, but at how you behave when you think no one is watching. They test your loyalty far more than they test your skills. You memorize rules, commands, and ideology until the words feel like your own thoughts. Because here, being a soldier is not just a physical transformation, it is a psychological one. You must believe what you are told, or at the very least, you must act convincingly like you do. Slowly, without realizing it, you begin to understand something important. This system does not just train your body. It reshapes your thinking, rearranges your instincts, and replaces your personal judgment with collective obedience. You have lasted longer than most recruits who started beside you. Now you are promoted to corporal. For the first time, you have a small piece of authority, but it comes with a different and heavier kind of pressure than you expected. You are now responsible for others. You watch them the way you were once watched. You repeat the same harsh discipline you once endured, not because you want to, not because you believe it is right, but because if you do not enforce it, you will be the one standing in front of the group being made an example of. But you start to see the system from a different angle now, and what you see is unsettling. It is not just about control flowing down from the top. It is about control at every single level, each rank enforcing the one below it with the same fear that was used to shape them. A chain that never breaks because every link believes it has no other choice. Now you are a sergeant. You are no longer just following orders. You are enforcing them with your voice, your presence, and your authority. You lead drills. You monitor behavior closely. You report anything that looks suspicious to those above you. And suspicious can mean almost anything in this environment. A careless word spoken too quietly between two soldiers. A tired expression at the wrong moment. A brief hesitation before saluting an officer. Your role is no longer purely military. It has become political, whether you wanted that or not. Because loyalty here is not assumed to exist simply because someone wears the uniform. It must be demonstrated constantly, loudly, and without ambiguity. You begin to realize something deeply unsettling about the world you now inhabit. Genuine trust does not exist here. What exists in its place is surveillance, reporting, and the performance of loyalty. You have crossed a significant line. You are now an officer, a lieutenant, and the world looks different from this side. Your uniform changes to reflect your new status. Your living conditions improve, slightly but noticeably. Better quarters, marginally better food, a degree of personal space you had long forgotten existed. But your responsibilities increase in ways that are not always visible from below. Now you are expected to think, to plan operations, to lead men through difficult situations, but always within boundaries that are never fully explained to you. You do not question strategy handed down from above. You execute it and find a way to make it work. You do not challenge decisions even when they contradict what you have seen with your own eyes. You justify them to the men beneath you and to yourself. You are closer to power now, but that proximity brings its own dangers. Because mistakes at this level are remembered, and the people watching you have patience and long memories. You are a captain. You command genuine respect now, but you also command fear. And you learn quickly that in this system, fear is often more useful. Your orders directly shape the daily lives of dozens of soldiers. You control training schedules, enforce discipline, manage morale in ways that keep the unit functioning and loyal. You report directly to higher command, and those reports are read carefully by people you will rarely meet. Now you face a pressure that is unlike anything in the lower ranks. Performance measured not just by tactical results, but by the political temperature of your unit. If something goes wrong under your command, it is never simply an operational failure. It immediately becomes a question of your dedication to the system, your ideological reliability, your belief. That question, once raised, can dismantle everything you have spent years constructing. At the rank of major, you have crossed another invisible threshold. You are no longer simply a soldier executing a mission. You are a functioning piece of the system itself. You oversee larger units and coordinate across multiple teams. You attend meetings that the soldiers beneath you never hear about, in rooms that do not officially exist. You receive briefings that reveal a larger picture of what this military actually does and how it actually operates. And that picture changes you in quiet, irreversible ways. You begin to notice contradictions between the official version of events and the reality you observe directly. Gaps between what leadership claims publicly and what you know to be true in private. But you learn very quickly that noticing these things is one matter and acknowledging them is another entirely. Because awareness, when expressed openly in this environment, is dangerous. Silence, not you understand now, is not weakness. It is survival. Now you are a colonel. The authority you hold is significant and tangible. You have resources, influence, and a status that is visible to everyone around you. Your life has become genuinely more comfortable with better housing, access to goods unavailable to lower ranks, and a level of social privilege that separates you from the majority of the military. But there is a cost attached to all of it, one you feel most clearly in quiet moments. Isolation. You are watched more carefully than ever, not by the soldiers beneath you, but by those directly above you, and by the political officers embedded throughout the system. Your loyalty is no longer assumed based on your record. It is actively monitored, tested through small situations designed to measure your response, and evaluated against a standard that shifts without warning. Because at this level, you are powerful enough to become a problem. And in a system built on control, anything powerful enough to become a problem is treated as one before it has the chance. You have reached one of the highest ranks a soldier in this system can achieve. You are a general. The vast majority of men who entered this military with you never came close to standing where you stand now. You attend meetings at the highest levels of command. You help shape strategic decisions that affect thousands of lives and entire regions. You stand very close to the center of power, close enough to feel its weight pressing down on you every single day. But this is not freedom. Not even close. This is pressure at its absolute peak. Every word you speak in any setting carries consequences you must calculate in advance. Every decision you make is studied and analyzed by eyes you cannot always identify, because at this rank, you are visible in a way that cannot be undone. And in this system, visibility is one of the most dangerous conditions a person can be in. One mistake, one miscalculation, one moment where doubt crosses your face in the wrong room. and everything you spent your entire life building can vanish overnight, without warning, without process, and without appeal. At the very top of this structure sits ultimate authority, but alongside that authority sits ultimate risk, and the two are inseparable. Power at this level is absolute in theory, but it is never stable in practice. You are surrounded at all times by people performing loyalty. And you know it is a performance because you once performed it yourself. Alliances that seem solid shift without notice. Positions held for decades disappear in a single afternoon. Fates that seemed untouchable reverse completely, and no one speaks about it afterward. And even here, at the highest point this system allows, you are still part of the same machine that first cut your hair and replaced your clothes and told you that your name no longer mattered. A machine built on control, on fear, on absolute, unquestioning obedience from the very first day to the very last. Now step back and look at what you have lived. Every rank, every layer. From the recruit who could not sleep through the night to the general who cannot afford to. And you have seen something most people never will. That rank in this system is not simply about hierarchy or responsibility or expertise. It is about survival, and the method of surviving changes as you climb. But the need never disappears. At the bottom, you fear punishment. At the top, you fear losing everything. And in the long space between those 2 points, you learn to adapt to whatever the current level demands. To obey, to perform, to endure. Because in this system, no one is truly free. Not the recruit shivering through his first morning drill before the sun has risen. Not the officer quietly justifying orders he knows are wrong. Not even the general surrounded by power he cannot fully trust and cannot safely set down. And as you close your eyes tonight, one question stays with you in the silence. The same question every rank produces in a different form. If power comes with fear, and obedience is the price of survival, then what does freedom really look like?